Hey guys, I've been asked a little about row crops and nectar flows. This is soybeans. These soybeans, they'll be blooming here pretty soon. They start when they're about this tall. They'll have little blossoms and they'll continue to blossom as they go on up, and they'll end up, a little less than hip high depending on how tall you are. And they continue to bloom on for quite some time. But this is soybeans. The bees do pretty well off of them. Usually you have two bloom colors on them. One will be white and one will be purple. I haven't found that there's a particular advantage to any color. That's another farmer's field right over there, and as you can see, it's much shorter, so it's very advantageous to be in an area where you have multiple farmers that have planted at different times. It will extend your nectar flow on out. As you can see, lots of tree line, ditches. So I'll have sumac, red vine, poison ivy. That large oak over there, it's covered in poison ivy. Most of that little shrubby area is. So summer flow's fixing to kick on. These beans, they'll be blooming here, oh, I'd say in a week, if I had to guess. The first week of June, these early beans will be going. You also get late beans. Farmers that plant wheat, they'll harvest the wheat, burn it off, plant their soybeans, and those soybeans will be blooming much later in the year. So there you have it, guys. There's a quick and dirty description of the soybean flow. Okay guys, I realized that I said something a minute ago that might be confusing with the purple and white blossoms. It's not purple and white blossoms on both varieties. It's separate. So you'll have either a white variety or a purple variety of blossom. Now we're looking at poison ivy. This is the blooms on poison ivy. That's a small cluster. I'm not seeing any big clusters because this is just starting, but it will be soon enough. Like I say, it'll get going. This poison ivy, it's all over everything. It produces a good amount of nectar, significant amount of nectar actually. So here's another one, poison ivy. Okay guys, I'm just walking around this bee yard and I'm going to piece these together. But now this isn't blooming yet, but this here is peppervine. And peppervine's a lot like porcelain berry. It'll bloom a very non-showy greenish flower, small, kind of like poison ivy blooms, and then later on it'll put on dark purple berries that kind of look like peppercorns, I guess. But it's very prolific. It's I guess considered invasive. Farmers aren't very fond of it, but it makes a lot of honey. So this is peppervine. So I walked down a little bit and I did find some fixing to bloom. Well, some very small buds starting anyway. It's a little ways off, but you can see where these little flower heads are going to be on this one. And again, this is peppervine. And it is a very significant nectar source in the summer. Guys, something to remember when you're placing bees on crops or near crops is that you don't want to be on top of the crops. You want to be near them, not on them. Now soybeans, they don't spray a whole lot. cotton will hurt you. But you got to remember, these farmers, they're doing this for a business. This is money. This is how they feed their families. You can clearly see that they ain't spraying this. This is a swampy, wetland area that they cannot farm. It does them no good to spray and waste their chemicals on this stuff. So what you want to do is have your bees tucked away in these wetlands. They serve as an excellent wind barrier, which will help you with drift. And they also provide a lot of early pollen, sometimes nectar sources. And for us here in the summer, or coming into the summer, they provide significant nectar sources. So it's kind of a misconception that here in the river bottoms in East Arkansas that it's all crop honey. I'd say it's depending on the yards that you're in, where you place your bees, though, it could be as much as 50-50 really, because when this sumac starts coming on, and when you got poison ivy like this, I mean, look, it's from the ground to the treetops. Peppervine, absolutely thick, all in the underbrush. And some yards it's not peppervine, some yards it's red vine. I think red vine's a little bit better. I'll get to a yard later today that's covered in red vine and show you all that. But just wanted to let you know that. I'm gonna make my way around to the other side and show y'all some sumac. All right, guys, this here is my favorite. This is sumac. Now this particular stand of sumac is smooth sumac. You can see your flower heads starting. They're a little ways off. But this is sumac, and there is just lots of it. Lots of it in West Tennessee, East Arkansas, and North Mississippi, all around here in the Memphis metro area. It's thick and dense, and there's lots of it. If you can get around some bayous and ditch rows with it, they do really well, and it produces a very high quality honey, in my opinion, one of my favorites. Now staghorn sumac's got a little bit bigger of a flower cluster. They're very comparable. I think smooth and staghorn are about your best. As I said, this is an excellent nectar producing plant. To me, the honey in its pure form, not mixed up with a bunch of other nectars, has a flavor that reminds me of dried apples. Here we go, a bunch more peppervine all trying to poke out of the bottom. This is grape. Now, I see bees on grapes, plenty, but I can't substantiate whether they get any kind of nectar off of them. I know that literature says that they don't produce nectar, but I think the bees get something off of them, because I do see them on them where there's mostly that. Yeah, and this is just a big old thick stand of sumac and peppervine and poison ivy, all this good stuff, and then hundreds of acres of soybeans that will extend that flow out well into late summer. So for those that wanted to look, this here is what I have in this yard. So lots to look forward to this summer. Okay guys, now I can show you some red vine. It's all this vine that's covering up all this shrubbery, climbing these trees. That is Brunicia ovata. red vine, American buckwheat vine. And it is a prolific nectar source. It is an excellent honey. It adds a great flavor. I feel like I can tell red vine honey. It also has a very unimpressive bloom. A greenish yellow, small, tiny bloom. But this is red vine, and you will find it all over the upper delta. There's some more smooth sumac. So you have red vine, peppervine, poison ivy. There's some other stuff, minor, but those make quite a bit of honey for you in early summer, late spring, I guess. Just depends on the year. But yeah, most farmers don't really care for this. A lot of them, they'll keep their, well, like that farmer over there, he keeps his roadside clean. My farmers, they know that it benefits me and it benefits the bees, and they leave me these tree lines and things as they are. So it's very important to have a relationship with your farmer, that you can sit down and talk about how you can help them. And good farmers will ask how they can help you. And one thing you can ask them is to leave your ditch rows alone. Let the ditch rows grow up. Let them do what they do. Or maybe you'll ask them to allow you to plant something. Or maybe if you're really beneficial to them, they'll allow you to plant, and they'll sow a cover crop for you or something like that. But that gets into a lot of cost. But anyway, guys, that is red vine. This field here, it's not planted. It's typically sunflower. Over across from it, soybeans, and over there is rice. That will be full of water before too long. And I don't mind to be on rice. It doesn't seem to hurt anything, and the bees get plenty of water, and they don't do much other than fertilize it. So, well, guys, this is what I got going on for upcoming nectar flow and nectar flows that are going on. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions about these plants, let me know.